thank you for being here tonight. We'll call our May the 24th County Commission meeting to order. A lot of big, important things happening in the county tonight, and we got big, important things happening here tonight. So we'll move on with that. Commissioner Wallace is going to lead us in a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd like to join, please stand.
Will you bow your heads? Dear Lord, first and foremost, we thank you for all the many blessings that you have given us. And dear Lord, we ask for your protection today. We ask for your guidance. And dear Lord, we pray for each of our friends and each of the people's names that are on the ballot tonight. We pray that you will protect them, you will encourage them, and just help them as the days to come. And dear Lord, as we approach the Memorial Day weekend, we want to honor all of our veterans. And dear Lord, we just thank them for taking care of us and protecting this country. Dear Lord, go with us tonight. Be with every decision that we make, that it be pleasing to you. That's in the holy name. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make a quick announcement. Tonight in our caucus session, we went into executive session to discuss a litigation matter and some property matters, and no action was taken on those items. The next item of business is to approve our agenda. Are there any objections to approving the agenda as presented? Seeing none, the agenda will be approved as submitted. We have a few people that are listed for public participation tonight. I think to start off, Spencer, are you here? Spencer Brewer would like to speak to us about Freeport. Come on up and give us your name and address.
I'm Spencer Brewer, 173 Lavender Road, Rome 30165. And I know everybody in this crowd. I appreciate the interest and the opportunity. I'm not a public speaker, so I'm going to read from notes real quick. I'm in the people's satisfaction business. I just so happen to sell hardware, garden supply, feed, and seed gifts. And in my business, I have to have a lot of inventory to support my business. People walk in the door, they say they want something. If I don't have it, boom, they're gone to the internet. They've gone somewhere else to buy it. So my business, my type business, needs a lot of inventory. The business we're in has been a lifelong dream, and I love serving my community and interacting with my business partners, my bankers, my lawyers, my insurance people, county government, city government, state government. Those are all partners in my business. And it's very important for everybody to realize that. When we went into business, I didn't ask for a TAD. I did not ask for a tax break for anything on developing my land, on putting up business, on having employee tax breaks, any of that. I didn't want it. I did not need it. I think these days the use of TADs is a little bit overblown. In my first finance class, I was told you need to know two things. And one is the impact of compound interest. Rhonda knows that well. It can kill you. Inflation can kill you. Those numbers inflating as they go can hurt you. And the other is you collect your money as soon as you can and you pay it off as soon as you can without paying penalty. The other part of my finance class is that you better know your tax laws. And I did not pay attention to that as I went into business. So I drafted my business plan. I was conservative on my revenues. I was very liberal on my expenses, and it all worked. Okay, even if everything fell through, I could make money doing this. A couple things I did not foresee. 9/11, 27 went silent for 2 weeks after 9/11. I did not see the drought. My business suffered dearly when the drought came on. We had to shut off water, couldn't get plants, people couldn't buy plants. The recession, did not see the recession coming. My business plan didn't include all of these. It didn't include COVID, and y'all know the impact of what COVID has had on everybody. Nobody could have possibly foreseen that. I didn't see now the inflation, the impact of inflation, and I did not see the impact of the big boxes. I really did not see the impact of Amazon and the internet, what it's doing to small businesses. And I didn't figure the taxes would hit us as hard. When you're in my business, when you clear 5% after the end of the day, you're doing pretty good. So you clear all this money and you bottom line, here comes your taxes, boom, you might make a couple of percent. So over the past 22 years, I've paid, what I'm getting around to is inventory tax. I have to have this inventory every year. The tax hits me at whatever rate, $7,000 to $10,000 a year. I've paid over 22 years $150,000 in inventory tax just to have it on my shelf. So in essence, my asset can become a liability if it's sit on my shelf for too long. It can be worth negative money because I've paid more tax on it than it's worth. But I've got to have the inventory to be competitive. And this inventory is taxed by the citizens when they come buy it, 7%. This 1% splosh that's floating around now, that's part of the 7%. But over my 22 years, I've collected over $2 million in sales tax alone that goes back into the county coffers, county and state coffers. Big money for a small business.
If you're close.
Is that it? I'm out of time.
Right, great.
How you doing?
Thank you.
Okay. Consider Freeport 2, and we'll talk later.
Thank you. The next people that have signed up are actually here for zoning matters, which will be handled under our public hearing. So we'll call on them to be able to speak when that happens. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of our May the 10th regular meeting, caucus, and executive session? Seeing and hearing none, they stand approved as submitted. We have two special recognitions tonight. One of them is a little closer to our hearts right now. And I'm going to ask Susie Gass to come up, and you'd like to bring the members of your staff that are here up with you. And Jamie, if you'd like to lead us into a discussion on that. And Susie, I'd like for you to speak, or any of you to speak about it after Jamie's through.
Yeah, as they're coming up, I'll kind of describe. This is probably something that I'm most proud of because this makes everything go smoother. You keep the books balanced, and these girls do a great job at doing that, and I really appreciate that. Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada has awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to Floyd County for its annual comprehensive financial report for fiscal year ended December 31, 2020. The report has been judged by an impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, which includes demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and user groups to read the report. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by government and its management. And again, extremely proud of it. And how many years in a row is this?
30 plus. I think we're at 34 maybe?
Can't remember.
I didn't know you were going to ask me that, sorry.
That's okay. That's a good thing.
It is 30 plus years, so I think we're at 34 now.
Yes, so again, it takes a lot of effort to get this. This is not something we may take it for granted, but it's a ton of work, and I do my best to leave them alone during audit season, which is currently going on. So let's give them all a round of applause for that.
Thank you, and I thank you for recognizing us. It is a big achievement. None of that would happen without the staff of the Finance Department. I'm really blessed and so thankful that I get to work with them every day. I have 3 of them here with me today. I have Misty Schrock and Brandy Baggett, they're accountants in the department, and Amanda Tears. Amanda is our internal auditor for the office, and they do an amazing job. There are a lot of incredibly long hours and hard work that go into that, and none of that happens without them. So thank you for recognizing us, but I really thank them for all the work. Thank you.
Might add, they're a position short right now, and they've had an extended illness, although hopefully that's getting a little bit better, but they're almost working too short right now and keeping everything above board. So hats off to you guys for doing that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is one we don't get to do too often, but I'm going to ask Dave Robertson if he'd come up and lead us into that discussion.
Thank y'all very much. Like you said, it's a wonderful time to be here. Come on. Chris has been with us 23 years, and on the way over here, I was thinking how quickly time has passed. I started in '95, and he started shortly after. And over that time, we've worked together in different divisions, whether it's jail, courts, and also now we're using warrants. And, come this Friday, I think that'll be 23 years, and he'll be retired. And I mean, it's good and sad, but I think in these times, you know, people's quick to change jobs, and I think it's very nice of the commission and the county to recognize somebody who's put in the work and the effort to stay with us that long. Because I think we're probably in an environment now where we probably won't see that much here going forward, because it's so easy to leave and go somewhere else. And I'm just very thankful I got to know Chris on a personal level, as well as working with us. He's a very fine man, and you see brought his wife and some of the young ones with him, so he'll have something to keep him busy. So I just want to say thank you for his time here. And if you have anything you want to say, you're more welcome. I know he's a deacon or pastor, so he may keep us here a while, but he's more than welcome to say a few words if you want to. But I know we petitioned, like I said, you've been here 23 years, and I know he's actually still have his weapon, so we plan on giving it to him at the end of I'm gonna get some work, a few more days out of him, and we'll let him have it. But if you want.
Well, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for this opportunity. It's been waiting on this for 23 years now. And it feels awesome. It is awesome. And Dave and I go way back, Sheriff Dave, and congratulations on him on the election. He's going to make a fine sheriff here for the county, I'm sure. And just want to say that as well that I'm not a resident of Floyd County, but I thank everyone and the good Lord for the opportunity to have served Floyd County. It's been a pleasure and an honor. Just want to say thank all of you.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate everything you've done, and your whole department has done. We've got a great sheriff's department here and organization, and you've been an important part of it, and we appreciate you greatly. So thank you for what you've done. There are no proclamations tonight and no first readings, but we do have 6 public hearings on zoning and planning issues that will be brought up, and I'd like to remind everybody of our rules on public hearings. Art will present each one of these items, and we'll act on them one at a time. When he is through making his presentation, we will open the public hearing, and those wishing to speak in favor of the proposal will have up to 10 minutes. That's cumulative 10 minutes, not 10 minutes apiece to speak. And then those in opposition will have the same time frame. So, and at that time, we'll come back to the front of the room, and one of our commissioners will make a motion on each item, and we'll take action at that time. So, Art, if you'd start off with item 1, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. The first item that we have is actually two requests. One request is to rezone from duplex residential to suburban residential, and the second part of the request is a special use permit for a manufactured home. This is proposed to be located at 8 Circle Drive, tax parcel J16Y023. The Planning Commission has a recommendation of approval on this request, and that comes with a recommendation of approval from the staff as well. This is a parcel that's not currently in the floodplain. However, there's some floodplain adjacent to it, and there is public water and sewer available to the property. This is coming before the commission tonight, as the county engineer has stated that this would qualify as a special use permit request that would have to be reviewed by the commission in order for a manufactured home to be potentially placed on the property. And the comprehensive plan shows this parcel listed as medium density residential. Lauren's going to run for me. Apologies for that. Thank you, Lauren. So looking at the parcel, thank you. So the parcel is outlined in red. Immediately to the north, you see the hashed area. That is the floodplain, but this parcel is outside of that, but it is adjacent. And that's a better look at the picture. So the property is currently zoned duplex residential, which is kind of the light tan color. You can see Circle Drive with the lots that are along and around that particular parcel, and then the light yellow color is suburban residential, and the medium green color is high-density traditional residential. There are a mix of uses, residential uses in that particular neighborhood. There are some single-family detached homes. There are some manufactured homes. Our research did show that in approximately 2009, there were 2 manufactured homes that were granted special use permits on Circle Drive. Here are some photos in the neighborhood, and you'll be able to see some of the diversity of the housing stock there. This is a picture looking into the lot, and you can see the steps of the home that was previously there. We're not exactly sure how long that home has been gone. Just have a couple more pictures of the lot and the adjacent homes. This application, should it be approved, would also have to go before the Board of Adjustments for some setback variances. This is a double frontage lot, and double frontage lots have particular instances where they have more setbacks than another lot would have. Again, this has a recommendation of approval from the staff and the Planning Commission, and we'll yield to the Commission for any discussion. Questions? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Art.
Yes, sir.
We'll now open the public hearing on item 1. If there are those of you who would like to speak in favor of this proposal, please come forward and give us your name and address, and we'll listen to your comments. Seeing none, are there any wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask one of our commissioners. I believe Commissioner Wallace has a motion on this item.
Yes, I make a motion to deny the request.
The motion is to deny the request. Is there any discussion? If not, please call the roll, Ms. Barton.
We don't have a second.
And we're better to have that first.
Second.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Hancock?
Yes.
Vice Chair Waters?
Yes.
Chair Bagby?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Item 2, Art.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The next item is also 2 requests. We have a request to rezone from suburban residential to agricultural residential for property at 125 Davis Road, and also a request for a special use permit for an event venue. This is coming before the planning commission, before the county commission with a unanimous recommendation or approval from the planning commission. It does come with the condition that variances from the Board of Adjustments be granted. Thank you. So here's looking into the property. So just point of reference, we're off Davis Road, which is off Highway 411, just outside of Cave Spring, and you can see the outline of the property in red. Looking at the zoning map, part of the property is currently zoned agricultural residential, with the remainder being zoned suburban residential, which is the light yellow color, and then the light green color is the agricultural residential. If you'll notice across the highway, the pink color lot is the RV park, which is zoned community commercial. So we're looking at a few pictures looking into the property. And you can go ahead and scroll through those. Get some more there. And members of the commission, I will say that the staff has had several conversations over the past several months with Mr. Reeves, who's the applicant, in regards to the application, looking at what our current Unified Land Development Code lists for events. This property, is my understanding, has been used for several years. I'm not exactly sure how long, for different events which benefit the city of Cave Spring. This property is in the county, but there's a residual benefit, if you will, to the city of Cave Spring due to its proximity. We have some things that we have been speaking with Mr. Reeves in regards to this property, and those will probably start to continue. And I think they may have one. Here's some more pictures of it. And I will say that we did have this originally scheduled at the April Planning Commission meeting, and thus it would have been heard before the County Commission at the public hearing, the second to fourth Tuesday in April. It was tabled by the Planning Commission at that time. We still had it scheduled for the Board of Adjustments this month at the May meeting. There was a miscommunication that with our office, with Mr. Reeves, which I apologize for. Mr. Reeves had contacted our office. He had an appointment that he could not miss, which was the same day as the Board of Adjustments, and he was not present there. So we are looking at if needed, to go back at a later date before the Board of Adjustments. So did want to point that out. With that, Mr. Chair, I'll yield. If there are any other questions after you do the public hearing, we'll be glad to try to fill in. Okay.
Thank you, Art.
Yes, sir. Thank
we
you.
will now open the public hearing on item 2. If there are those here who would like to speak in favor, please come forward and give us your name and address, and you will have up to 10 minutes.
Hi, I'm Alan Reeves. I'm the co-manager of Big Cedar Festival Grounds along with my wife. This property was developed in 1982-83 as a YMCA day camp. It's been used since then variously as a Boy Scout jamboree site. Trinity United Methodist Church has used it for bonfires and so forth. Big Cedar Arts and Crafts Festival was held here for 17 years continuously. The Cave Spring Downtown Development Authority has been using it for the motorcycle rally for the past 7-8 years. We have to exclude 2020 COVID year. We acquired the property in 1919, pardon me, from the previous owner because he wanted to assure that the Downtown Development Authority was able to continuously use the property for the motorcycle rally because of its importance to the DDA for their budget. And we are asking that you consider this request. This was a consolidation of several parcels, 4 parcels that were variously zoned AR, SR, so we're trying to get that under one zoning designation. It's a hay field, and anything that we do is done in conjunction with the hay harvest. So that severely limits any activities on the property, but it's adjacent to Big Cedar Creek, and the conservation and preservation of Big Cedar Creek is our primary concern because that's the goose that makes this entire venue work. So I would ask you to approve the rezoning and the special use permit to continue its present use as an event venue, and I'll reserve the rest of the time. I think there are others who want to speak.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor?
My name is Larry Dolan, 1 Rome Road, Cave Spring, Georgia. I'm also the Executive Director of the Cave Spring Downtown Development Authority. And I'm supportive of the initiative. But what I would also like to mention is that whatever you decide to do with that, I would ask that not interfere with the upcoming motorcycle rally. We just got finished doing a mushroom festival, which is very successful. And the motorcycle rally is scheduled for July 29th and 30th. And contracts have been signed. It has a huge economic impact. And we hope that nothing can interfere with at least this year's motorcycle rally, and hopefully future ones. But just to give you an idea where we're at with that, excuse me. We right now have 15 sponsors. We have 30 vendors, 45 RV campsites, 50 tent sites. On average, we average about 1,500 participants that come to the event. They come from Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia. And so we bring in a lot of business for the Cave Spring community and for Big Cedar RV and the downtown merchants. This year we're partnering with Marriott Courtyard in Rome as well. So there's a lot of people's livelihoods that are affected by this. So we ask you to consider that when you deliberate on this. And I just wanted to give you a sense of what that was about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to speak in favor? If not, are there those who'd like to speak in opposition? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask any commissioner. Mr. Hancock, I think, has a motion, and then we'll have any discussion that we might need.
All right, I'll make a motion to deny without prejudice based off of the Board of Adjustments denial due to the setback variance.
A second.
Have a motion and a second by Commissioner Hancock and a second by Commissioner Wallace. This will also allow time to bring this before the Board of Assessors, which did not happen but for various reasons, and give it an opportunity to be heard again. So is any further discussion?
A point of order, Mr. Chairman, is that motion to deny both the rezoning and the special use permit?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Both
right.
without prejudice, though, where
Yeah.
you can have an opportunity to bring it back.
All right.
So this motion, if it is approved, would still allow for the 2 events that they currently host per
Yes.
year?
That's correct.
Yes.
That is a legal non-conforming use for the 2 events per year, and that's why I wanted that clarification,
Right.
because to change the zoning but deny the special use permit would do away with that position.
Right.
So that's
They would still be able to have a motorcycle rally that's scheduled.
That's right.
Okay. Any further discussion? Ms. Barton, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Hancock?
Yes.
Vice Chair Waters?
Yes.
Chair Bagby?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Item 3, Art.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The next item we have is a request to rezone from heavy industrial to light industrial for a property located at 0 Calhoun Highway and West Hermitage Road. The commission might remember about 2 months ago, the same property was up for a rezoning request. At that time, it was being requested to be rezoned with split zoning of multifamily residential for some townhomes and suburban residential for single-family detached homes. That request at that time was denied without prejudice and then has since come back. The request is to rezone the property from heavy industrial to light industrial. The uses most likely would be electrical, plumbing contractors and so on that would need that zoning for trucks and so on, but not necessarily be required to have the heavy industrial zoning. This property is, again, located at the corner of West Hermitage and West Hermitage and Highway 53, New Calhoun Highway. Thank you. Thank you. And here the property is outlined in red. As you can see, it's kind of an L-shaped property. We do have setbacks that they would have to meet 30 feet on the rear setback, which is adjacent to the Rush family farm there. And then looking at the zonings, the darker purple is the heavy industrial zoning, which you can see is a fair amount of that. And then there's agricultural residential zoning immediately to the south, and then suburban residential zoning, which is in the adjacent area. Here's some pictures looking into the property and then looking along both ends of West Hermitage. That's looking from the property, looking across the street, looking into the property, and looking one end of West Hermitage. That's the east view. The next view is a westerly view of West Hermitage. And then again, looking north, directly across from the parcel. Mr. Chairman, this property has a request. So this request has a unanimous recommendation of approval from the Planning Commission. On the recommendation, the light industrial district excludes manufacturing or industrial uses that emit noxious odors, dust, fumes, gas, noise, or vibration outside of any building on the premises. It also excludes hazardous materials such as those materials involving bulk storage or gasoline or toxic chemicals. This district is also designed for industrial and warehousing uses that do not have a detrimental effect upon adjoining residential or commercial developments, and staff recommends approval. And there'll be one more picture that I believe Mrs. Burns will want to show y'all in just a moment.
Thank you, Art.
Thank you.
We will now open the public hearing on item 3. And I know there are people here that would like to speak on this, so if there are those who'd like to speak in favor of this, please come forward.
Yes, sir. My name's Darren Harden. My address is 230 Old Highway 41, Adairsville, 30103. Yes, sir. We brought this property, I believe it was back in February, looking to develop this property as a mixed-use residential project. It's a unique piece in the sense that it has a creek that basically divides the property into 2 pieces. It has a lot of utilities already in place, existing infrastructure. It has water and sewer as well as power, which is great for an industrial site here. It was not looked at favorably for it to be residential, so we are looking to develop this into warehousing space between 20 and 200,000 square foot buildings on the site. It's in a unique area that's got excellent access to 53 for truck traffic, as well as near the widening of 140, which allows the trucks then to travel into Interstate 75. This property is currently zoned HI, which actually under HI zoning, the usable acreage that's lost is 26 acres out of a 52-acre tract. So obviously it has hindered it. It's been on the market for 13 years, and this property hasn't been bought or even tried to be bought during that time. So we are taking this to light industrial, greatly increases the usable acres of the property as well as the existing infrastructure that's on site. And of course, light industrial fits inside of what the land use map already has for the property. During the planning meeting, I spoke and I told Mr. Rush at the time, and I'll say it in front of you guys as well, I'm happy to meet with him. I believe that they will not want fencing or anything that will change the natural state of the property. And I'm in agreement with that. I actually believe that we should use landscaping, which I just spoke with the gentleman when I came in today. I'm happy to meet with Mr. Rush at the time. we will be doing grading, which is going to reduce the site, which lowers the buildings from any kind of view to begin with from Mr. Rush. But again, I'm happy to meet with him on site and increase landscaping, which gives us a natural buffer between us. So, any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I don't think so. Thank you. Is anyone else who'd like to speak in favor? Is anyone here who'd like to speak in opposition?
Hello, Lucy Burns. I live at 1646 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Rome. I'm here on behalf of the Rush family. My father's Thad Rush, the owner of the adjacent property to the property that's being considered for rezoning, and I think we've been over this before, but we do feel like light industrial is more appropriate than the prior proposal. But I just want to just share a few things. I think there's a photograph, if you can show that. We are requesting that if you are so inclined to rezone this to light industrial, that you consider some additional setback footage, as well as maintaining the buffer undisturbed, whereas now it is a pine forest and the trees are of considerable height that will help impede any visual impact on the property. I think there's a picture. What I'd like to share for just a few minutes is a study that was done by the National Park Service along with Chieftain's Museum, just to kind of give you a little sense of the history of the home and the adjacent property. This is, there's another part. One picture. Thank you. So this was a study that was completed by William Bishop, who was at the time the president of the Trail of Tears Association, the Georgia chapter, and it was done in 2008. And this is just a little bit of their findings. This property is usually referred to as the Rush Farm or the Rush House, but actually it should be referred to as Running Waters, which was the name that it was given by John Ridge, the son of Chief Major Ridge, who was the original owner of this property. And this is just a little bit from this study that I'd just like to share. Running Waters, located in what is now Floyd County, Georgia, played a pivotal role in the Cherokee removal story. Running Waters is where the group that would later be called the Treaty Party was formed, where it conducted its business and where terms of what would become known as the Treaty of New Echota were discussed in open council. Running Waters was also the location of a Ridge-sponsored Cherokee mission school headed by Sophia Sawyer, who taught a number of Cherokee students between 1835 and 1836. After her school was forced out of New Echota, Running Waters is where Treaty Party leader John Ridge lived, wrote his correspondence, and conducted his business. It is often said these days that the Trail of Tears began right here, but in this case, such a statement wouldn't be simply empty hyperbole. And that's the opening remarks of this study. And there's a lot of interesting information here, but I'm going to skip over Sophia Sawyer's letters, who was the teacher at the mission school that was on this property, as well as the property that's being considered for rezoning, which it was all one property at one time. She operated the mission school, and it is through her letters that they actually were able to attribute this property right back to John Ridge. This is the final comments, a portion and the recommendations that were made from this study by the National Park Service. Running Waters should assume its rightful place alongside Red Clay and New Echota as a significant historic site, one of the three major places where Cherokee councils were held during the waning days of the Cherokee Nation in the Southeast. Running Waters was the place where John Ridge lived and worked. It is possible, perhaps even likely, that a portion of the Rush house is in fact the same house in which Ridge lived. The 1832 land lottery map certainly shows the Ridge House sitting at the same spot now taken by the Rush House. At least 3 councils were held on this property in November 1834, May 1835, and July 1835, and these were no ordinary council sessions. These were the council sessions that led directly to the 1838 removal. The site certainly should be interpreted as part of the expanded Trail of Tears National Historic Trail. I share that just to ask that, as I know you have a very difficult task as a commission of making decisions about development, about future growth of Floyd County, we also have an important job to do preserving and telling the story of the history of, I would just happen to notice tonight the enchanted land is part of our Floyd County logo. I just think it's important to preserve and just be able to cherish these special places that there's not many of them left. So we are requesting for those reasons, as well as the actual use of my father's farm where he farms, that if you are so inclined to approve the rezoning of this property, that we request it be done with conditions, with the minimum, the setback for light industrial is 30 feet. We're requesting a minimum of 50 to 100 feet setback in addition to the, instead of the 30, as well as that the buffer be left undisturbed in the natural state that it is in now. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Is anyone else who'd like to speak that's opposed to this item? If not, we will close the public hearing. I will ask Commissioner Waters for a motion on this, and then we'll have any discussion
Rebuttal.
that we might have.
Currently, the property line from Mr. Rush's house to this property is 350 feet. I mean, it's over a football field away. We are looking to add additional landscaping and stuff, but to reduce the setbacks down puts you right back in the unusable space again, which of course then can render a property unusable. So I would just caution you, again, we are going to be grading the site, but we will allow natural buffers to be there as well as additional planted between these properties. But again, we are developing a site that is not this farm. We are not touching it in any way, so.
Can that property line be undisturbed with the pine trees and
Absolutely.
items that are there now? They could
Absolutely.
remain there?
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, I mean, I'm open to an undisturbed buffer. I would request if you decided to look for an undisturbed buffer of 20 feet where we can do the additional landscaping between us and the Rush Farms. But anything more than that starts to render the property unusable again.
Well, how big of a warehouse did you say this was going to be? You said 20,000 to 200,000?
The property closer to Mr. Rush's would be much smaller. The 20,000 square feet, the one that is near the railroad track has the ability, because of the depth of the property, to be bigger.
200,000.
Correct, yes, sir.
So you'll, okay.
Sorry.
You're talking about several different warehouses. That's what-
Yes, sir, correct,
Okay.
yes, sir. Not one.
Right, okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? If not, thank you.
Oh, yes, sir.
Lucy, I'm glad you got your voice back. And I'm going to make the motion, and I do genuinely care about this piece of property because it has strong historical roots with our family as well. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the request, but with the understanding and the condition that the 30-foot buffer be left undisturbed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Waters, second by Commissioner Wallace to approve the request with the stipulation that the 30-foot buffer be totally undisturbed. Any further discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Hancock?
Yes.
Vice Chair Waters?
Yes.
Chair Bagby?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Art, item 4, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The next item we have is a request of rezoning from community commercial to suburban residential for a property located at 23 Melody Lane. This is Floyd County Tax Parcel H13X207. Thank you. So looking at the map, the property is outlined in red. The use of the property is a single-family home, but it's currently zoned community commercial, and this would essentially be a cleanup to get this to a residential zone. You can go ahead, thank you. You can see here's the zoning map showing the property again outlined in red with the light pink color being community commercial. The light blue color is office institutional, and then the pale yellow color being suburban residential with other houses that are along Melody Drive. And there's a picture looking at the house that's currently zoned commercially. And then you can see pictures of Melody Drive itself. Has a little bit of mix of use on there, which is kind of indicated by the zoning map as well. Some single-family homes and some undeveloped lots. This comes to the Commission with a unanimous recommendation of approval from the Planning Commission. It also has a staff recommendation of approval. We believe that this is part of a real estate transaction that has been delayed with the zoning and the use not matching.
Okay, thank you very much, Art.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We will now open the public hearing on item 4. The same rules apply. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak in favor of this proposal? Seeing none, is there anyone here who'd like to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask Commissioner Hancock if he has a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Hancock, a second by Commissioner Waters to approve item 4. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Hancock?
Yes.
Vice Chair Waters?
Yes.
Chair Bagby?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Art, item 5.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The next item is a request for a special use permit for the development of miniature warehouses on a property at 3142 Maple Road in Glendale. So here is the property outline in red. So as a point of reference, this is where the Piggly Wiggly is in Glendale. Looking at the store, this would be the property that would be to the right of the store. The commission might remember about 3 years ago now, there was a request similar to this. At that time, there was a fair amount of neighbor opposition. It's my understanding that with this request, the neighbors and the applicants have come to some type of agreement or understanding. There is a fence that's been constructed along the property line between this property and the neighboring properties as well. And I did have at least one of the residents come speak to me about that a few weeks ago. So here's looking at the property. So the property is currently zoned community commercial, and in the county, miniature warehouses are a special use permit, which is the request that's before y'all this evening. If you look at the kind of medium green color that wraps around the Piggly Wiggly location, that's high-density traditional residential, single-family residential zoning, and then the pale yellow color being suburban residential on the other sides. This has a recommendation of approval from the staff with some conditions. Let's scroll down just a little bit, Lauren. We'll have some more pictures of the property. Okay, looking at the property, and then there'll be some pictures of the fence that's been constructed, a few photos down that you'll all be able to see. There we go. There's a picture of the fence that is separating the subject property from the residence on the other side. Another close-up view of that. And then here is a conceptual site plan showing the existing store and the parking lot. with the proposed miniature warehouses above that with the proposed landscaping that would surround the new miniature warehouses. So again, this has a unanimous recommendation of approval from the Planning Commission. The staff recommendation is approval with these conditions. The proposed development meets all the 30-foot setbacks. The proposed development is limited to the side of the property north of the existing parking lot of the shopping center. The existing mature vegetation along the property lines adjacent to the residential uses be maintained in addition to the required buffers. Any and all additional trees, shrubs necessary to complete the buffer requirements shall be at least 7 feet in height at the time of planting. And the required buffer will include any opaque privacy fence to be maintained at a height of 6 feet tall. Any and all lighting shall be below the cornice of the proposed structures to avoid light pollution on the adjacent properties. And trees and shrubs shall be planted and maintained to mitigate the view of the proposed development from the shopping center parking lot. And the shrubs shall be evergreen and have a mature height of at least 5 feet. Examples are shrubs or boxwoods, tea olives, let's say.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you, Art. We will open the public hearing on item 5. If there are those who'd like to speak in favor, please come forward and give us name and address.
Randy Gentry, 1065 Five Points Road, Waco, Georgia. I'm here with my attorney, Mr. Husser. We agreed to all the recommendations that the Zoning Commission has made, and we've worked with the neighbors to try to work out everything that any, issues they had. And basically, if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Thank you.
John Husser, 401 Broad Street, my office, Mr. Gentry's attorney. He has worked very hard with the neighbors, surrounding neighbors, building this fence, agreeing to maintain the current trees, the landscaping that he intends to put in place. What's really significant is he also owns the Piggly Wiggly property. This would be a rather passive use of commercial property, would not create high traffic volume. People would be coming in. It would be totally secured. Whatever opposition existed 3 years ago on the part of the residential community, we've addressed. I would respectfully ask the commission to approve his application for the special use permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to speak in favor? If not, is there anyone to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and I'll ask Commissioner Wallace if she'd like to make a motion and discuss.
Before I make a motion, I would like to say to the applicant, thank you for listening to the concerns of the community and all the people surrounding the area and doing what they felt like was a compromise to help the property. So thank you for that. I make a motion that we approve the request.
Are we going to do anything on the security?
That's the next one.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Need a second. We need a
I
second.
thought we were going to talk about that. I agree with her motion, but I thought there was some previous discussion that we had in caucus about security. Security cameras at the gate and a key code. Is that part of your?
Yes, sir. We plan on putting security cameras up and also having an electronic gate that closes at 9 at night and opens at 8 in the morning.
It'll be key code?
With a key code,
Okay.
yes. And that's just for the security of the property.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Hancock?
Yes.
Vice Chair Waters?
Yes.
Chair Bagby?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'd like to second what Commissioner Wallace, her comments. It's very nice when we have a zoning or a change of zoning or a special use permit come, and when the applicant has already on his own or her own accomplished some of the things that are meaningful to the neighborhood. And we appreciate that. It makes our job much easier. Thank you for doing that. Art, item 6.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. And the next item that we have is a requesting a rezoning from community commercial to suburban residential for a parcel at 1806C Pleasant Valley Road, Silver Creek. This request has a unanimous recommendation of approval from the Planning Commission. It also has a recommendation of approval from the staff. This is another single-family residential property that has a commercial zone attached to it. It's our understanding that there's another residential real estate transaction that's going to take place, and with the zoning and the use not matching, there has been a holdup. So here is the parcel outline in red. It is at the off Pleasant Valley Road. It's several hundred feet off the road at the end of a fairly narrow parcel. So here's looking at the parcel. Pleasant Valley Road would be to the north. The pink color is community commercial with the parcel outline in red, and then the suburban residential zoning in the pale yellow color, so that would match. And here is looking into the property. I'm not exactly sure how far Bryce drove down into it, so we may not have a picture of the house, but you can see just a regular residential driveway on Pleasant Valley. It's my understanding that at some point in years past, there may have been some commercial uses on this site, and that probably led to the community commercial zoning being there for however many years has been attached to the property. Don't believe we had any opposition to the request. Maybe some inquiries with the zoning side or with the letter, but none of the neighbors had expressed any opposition to that. And again, this comes to the Board of Commissioners with a unanimous recommendation of approval from the Planning Commission and also from the staff. I will say that Mr. Lemming, who's the current property owner, had contacted the office. He is out of town this evening.
Mr. Chair, I might add one comment on this. That you saw in your maps, the tax map showed it looked like the house was not actually on the parcel, but it actually is. There's an error in the tax map, but there is a corrected, it has been corrected, and I have a correct drawing showing the house placed on that parcel 140.
Thank you, Jamie, for pointing that out. Reminding me that yes, we got that squared away. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Art.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We'll open the public hearing on item 6, our last item tonight. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak in favor of this proposal? Seeing none, is anyone like to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask Commissioner Wallace to handle our discussion.
So I make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wallace, second by Commissioner Hancock to approve the recommendation on item 6. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Hancock?
Yes.
Vice Chair Waters?
Yes.
Chair Bagby?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Art. There are no further public hearings tonight, no resolutions. I have nothing to report from the chairman's seat. I think there are a couple of commissioners who'd like to report on some of the activity of their committees.
I just wanted to mention that today we had the groundbreaking for the Chuck Sennett Amphitheater. This was made possible by a generous donation from Dr. and Mrs. Sock Sennett. And it's been in the works for about 4 years, so the ground was broken today, and the lot will be cleared soon, and then construction hopefully to begin in August with a completion date hopefully by the end of the year. It was well attended, and it's going to be a nice addition to the library property.
Great gift by the Senate family. Commissioner Hancock, you have something you want to talk about?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about our a program I got to go watch yesterday with the county police. As a lot of you know, we have county police officers that are in our school called school resource officers, and those officers got together and developed their own committee and gave out awards at each high school for students that are really just good people. I mean, that go around the school and help other students and that are going to be good, productive citizens. I think it's a shame that we see so much negativity in the media and you don't ever hear about the good things. And I said this comment yesterday. I wish we had a news station that only reported on good things and nothing bad. And I believe it'd make the world a better place. But the county police and Chief Wallace have done a tremendous job of outreach in our communities in the last couple of years. And this was a program that was initiated by them and the SROs, and they brought the parents in, they brought the students in, they brought the schools in, they fed them, they did a presentation and brought the students up and gave them a plaque, and I think that's great, a great program that they did, Mark, and you guys are doing a tremendous job. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Commissioner Wallace, anything from you? Okay, Mr. Manager, anything on your end?
Just briefly, I didn't get a chance to mention this in caucus, but I was invited by Kerry Harris and Amelia Jackson to speak at the Young Farmers meeting last night up at the Selman store. Had a really good turnout, a really wonderful meal. I want to thank them for that. But a lot of good conversations and update on the Ag Center. It's a very important project to us, and we're working really hard behind the scenes on that, trying to get some property purchased and looking forward to moving ahead with architectural design. And a lot of energy in the room last night, and I appreciate the invite, and it was good to see those folks and visit with them.
Thank you. Glad to get activity in that area. Ms. Harmon, anything from you?
No report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Ms. Barton, is the consent agenda in order?
Yes, it is, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Waters, second by Commissioner Wallace to approve the consent agenda, which is airport rental renewals. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Hancock?
Yes.
Vice Chair Waters?
Yes.
Chair Bagby?
Yes.
Motion carries.
There's no old business tonight. We have 3 items under new business. I'll ask Mr. McCord to lead our discussion on that.
Yes, sir. Item 1, consider recommendation from purchasing to approve purchase of a TR-NOX tilter rotator by Ken Schuffer from Tractor and Equipment Company in the amount of $39,740 for Public Works. This is an attachment to the track code, allows them flexibility and different attachments. This was budgeted $75,000 in 2017's PLOS, and it is under budget.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion on item 1?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wallace, second by Commissioner Waters to approve item 1. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Hancock?
Yes.
Vice Chair Waters?
Yes.
Chair Bagby?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 2, consider recommendation from purchasing to award the roof replacement of the Floyd County Prison in the amount of $215,650. This will utilize inmate labor for the demolition of that. It was budgeted in 2017's PLOS at $400,000.
Thank you. Wish you could keep going like that. Is there
Yeah, local contractor, and it's a good price.
Is there a motion on item 2?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Waters, second by Commissioner Hancock to approve the roofing project for the prison. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Hancock?
Yes.
Vice Chair Waters?
Yes.
Chair Bagby?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 3, consider recommendation from purchasing to approve the purchase of 1 Max Mower Boom Generation 3 with accessories from At Max Equipment Company in the amount of $205,565 for Floyd County Public Works. This was budgeted in 2017's PLOS at $150,000. The remaining funds will come from savings on items in the same GL account, specifically the hydraulic excavator 174, which represented a savings of $113,000. Didn't do so well on this, but this is to be expected in the last several bids we've had with tractors and equipment.
Thank you very much. Is a motion on item 3?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wallace, second by Commissioner Waters to approve item 3. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Wallace?
Yes.
Commissioner Hancock?
Yes.
Vice Chair Waters?
Yes.
Chair Bagby?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I don't believe there's any other other business to take for us to look at tonight. If I hear nothing else, we are adjourned.